Hi everybody, this is Black Rhino Ranger. Here's something I forgot to mention in my previous countdown, is that I'm back in my old room. Earlier the air conditioning was malfunctioning because the air con so I had to evacuate to another room and it wasn't very comfortable. And also just yesterday my house had a bit of a leak. He can. I had to try and sort it out. We still haven't sorted out the roof on the leaky patch on our roof, and it was leaking a bit. We tried to call the guys, but they never showed up. So we're trying to look onto that in a moment. But we might not. We won't have to worry about that because in a couple of months we'll be moving out to a different place altogether. So, anyways, in case you're wondering about this book, I'll explain a bit about that late in a moment. So, hi everybody, this is Black Rhino Ranger, and next stop is in 2013. After we thought the world was going to end in 2012, surprisingly, we all managed to survive, and here we are. Unfortunately for me, it did seem like the end of the world to me because it was my first hard drive malfunction. I was working on Cracked Chaos at the time, and I was planning to release it in July. But then sometime in June, I accidentally had it dangle a bit, and then it stopped working. And wondering what the heck to do with it, I had to take it back to the shop, and it took 7 months to have it repaired and extract all my files into a new hard drive. And sadly, just today I had another hard drive malfunction. Now some of the stuff in there has been is now trapped inside, and I'm unable to reach them. Thankfully, it's not my animation work, so I'm okay with that part. My animation stuff is fine. And that's on a different hard drive. It's just this one I need to get repaired and perhaps transfer to another hard drive. So right now I'm still going to work with my animations as always, but this one still needs to be repaired. The other one is fine again. So what happened in 2013? What's my most favorite TV cartoon that year? So strangely enough, 2013 I think is the year I am not in love with any of the shows of 2013. There are shows that I do like, but there are some things that didn't grab me that much as the others. It's because of the controversy they received that kind of scared me, or maybe because they weren't as grabbing onto me as the others, or I just got into them, and I probably need to research them a bit more and stuff. So this was a bit of a last minute decision, but the closest I came to likings on what is my most favorite 2013 film show is Rick and Morty. It's odd, it's gross, it's bizarre. The character is a bit of a jerk, but you kind of get used to him. Of course, there are some weird oddities, like something to do with a giant baby, or the time when he was a pickle. Hey, Morty, check this out. I'm a pickle. I'm Pickle Rick. Yeah, something about the Szechuan sauce thing. Yeah, it's got a lot of controversy, and whether it's good or bad, but nevertheless, I still kind of enjoy it. And in fact, it's probably my most favorite thing from 2013. Although I could change a bit if I revisit some of the others. Speaking of others, my honorable mentions are the 2013 Mickey Mouse cartoons. They're made to resemble the old Mickey Mouse cartoons, although they were all made in Flash. It was one of the few things to be where Chris Savino, the creator of the Loud House, would work on, as well as Aaron Springer, who used to write for SpongeBob and later write for Gravity Falls, and later he would make the show Billy Dilly's Subterranean Adventure. Equestria Girls. I don't really count this as a TV show because it's more of a franchise of films and shorts and other things. It started off as a movie and then it had another movie with Rainbow Rocks and the camping one and it had some magic shorts like movie magic, mall magic, and things. And then there's also the shorts, which you had the ability to choose your ending, although those are disabled thanks to the YouTube Kids system. Um, it's not really a TV show. It's basically a franchise of a lot of things. Uncle Grandpa. It's so odd, it's so bizarre, but I'm not sure a lot of people liked that kind of absurdity. And some say Mr. Uncle Grandpa's a bit annoying, but I found myself, but I thought it was kind of fun, and it can be funny at times. I especially like the gag where Uncle Grandpa randomly shouts, "No!" And then the big nose just exit the building, and then there was a married couple, a person about to propose. He's like, "Oh, Rosie, will you marry me?" "No!" Oh, that one, I admit, got a good laugh out of me. Of course, there are some moments I'm not too gigantic on, like the new experiences with Barry Nice. That's me. And Hot Dog Person. That's me. Again, Uncle Grandpa's a bit of a mixed bag, but the guy who created Uncle Grandpa would later go on to other projects, like be the voice of a few of the Ice Cream King in the SpongeBob SquarePants, and be one of the directors for the later Looney Tunes shorts. I think he also did something. Did he do? Let's see. Did he do The Day the Earth Blew Up? Let me just double check. Peter. Uncle Grandpa Looney Tunes. Let me check. So what did he also do that was no, not that. Here it is. He did not only did he create Uncle Grandpa, he also used to be a storyboard artist for Chowder and a character layout artist for Futurama. And he used to be a supervising producer for Clarence, and he was the creator of the Looney Tunes cartoons from 2020 to 2024 and the Tom and Jerry special shorts. And he was also the director of The Day the Earth Blew Up. And he's doing a Pokemon project. Anyways, and the last one is a very controversial pick. Teen Titans Go. I'm not gonna lie, I actually found myself enjoying some Teen Titans Go episodes. I mean, I get it. It's not the original Teen Titans, and where they were a bit more serious with sprinkles of comedy here and there. Here they were trying too hard to be funny, and at times it's not funny, but it can still get a giggles here and now and then. I mean, there are some episodes I do like video game references and vegetables and Weird Al Yankovic as Darkseid and the Gentleman Ghost. Teen Titans Go to the Movies also pretty well. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but I thought it was a pretty solid movie. And again, I have seen worse DC stuff. I mean, I have seen worse DC stuff, like trying to think what's the worst thing DC really did ever made. Like say what a certain 2019 DC show did to my most favorite villainess, Giganta, or I have, and of course there are some movies that I'm not too. Some of the DC films that I found kind of boring, like a couple of Batman movies, but and also some of the live action things that made me question, like the Titans had that line where Robin's like, "F Batman." I'm like, Yeesh, not even Teen Titans Go stooped that low. At least they gave Kevin Conroy a guest appearance. And he, but it, um, I get it that I understand if Teen Titans Go isn't your cup of tea, and I can understand the hate, but I think it's the hate is just getting tiring at this point. It's about as I'm going to be brutally honest with you. The hatred on Teen Titans Go is about as boring as a Disney live-action remake. Yeah, I said it. The hate on Teen Titans Go is like a Disney live-action remake. It's gone. It's so tiring. I just want to move on. Anyways, now while I wait for some angry comments in the section here, let's go on to my most favorite of animated movies, Monsters University. Of course, me being a Monsters Inc. fan, naturally Monsters University would be one of my things, one of my favorite cartoons. Would be a worthy prequel to Monsters Inc. Again, it's funny. It expands on Mike's character, showcases how they met for the first time and stuff. Yeah, I am aware of its college movie tropes. I've only seen one other college movie besides this, and that was extremely goofy movie. But I understand the tropes. I understand the bully jock, the loser gang, the stick in the mud dean, and other things like that. But nevertheless, I still enjoyed it for how beautiful its animation is. The monster aesthetics, like the scare simulator, would have been an awesome attraction at the Disney parks, where you get the ability to scare the living daylights of the kids. Let me see if I can do my scare. How would that? How would you rate that? Anyways, my honorable mentions for animated films are Frozen. What more can I say about it? It took the world by storm. At the time, it was the highest-grossing animated film of all time. It's cute, it's bright, it's colorful. The songs are pretty good. Let it go, and da da dooby doo. It's I understand it's gone over. They say it's overrated, and some people have been pointing out its problems the more you look into it. But I still have a soft spot for it. I still think it's worth revisiting over and over and over again. I can see why people love it. I can still see why some people still love it to this very day. Equestria Girls. Here's where I would put this in the movie category. So Equestria Girls, I was a little bit afraid to see it at first, because the idea of My Little Pony as humans sounds like a bit of an odd concept. Like, is it trying to be like Monster High or something? But I was pleasantly surprised at how surprisingly good it was. The music, I'm still humming to this day, like, get up, get down, it gotta come around. We can work together, helping Twilight win a crown. I still have fond memories looking back at Equestria Girls, and the sequels are pretty good too. I'll talk more about that in a moment. The Croods. I'm a sucker for prehistoric films, and Croods is one of them. And although it would have been nice if they used actual prehistoric creatures, I thought it was a pretty solid way of introducing modern technology in this sort of caveman style. And not like the Flintstones, but do it in a more natural way. And Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, too. Sorry, Animate, it may be your arch nemesis, but especially if it has so many animal food puns, but it's still really bright, it's still very colorful, and it's still very action-packed and stuff. Now, it's very pretty to look at, and it's very, and I'd like to revisit it mostly for the aesthetics. I understand that the villain's a bit cliched, and maybe it's a bit questionable why they would become animals and stuff like that. And are these animals have feelings or something like that? But I don't know. I just watched the film for how colorful it looks. Better than the TV series, that's for sure. And finally, what is my most favorite video game? Of course, the third in the series, Skylanders Swap Force. It's a great way to show, mix and match the different Swap Force characters. You have the ability to swap different characters and give them some combinations. 256 swap abilities. I wonder how many. Well, I wonder if they would reuse any swap abilities for the light and dark if they were introduced back then, or would they create some new, one or two new swap abilities for the light and dark? Who knows? It also has a great. Of course, the Swap Force is the only team that's entirely male, because they wanted to do a gender-neutral approach in order for swapping to make sense. If this was made today, would they allow some female and non-binary swappers? I don't know. But there's also, but at least they made a good deal of introducing some new villainesses, like Chaos's mother and Esmeralda. So that's something to make up for the lack of females in the swap team. Honorable mentions are Disney Infinity. I think it's a worthy competitor against Skylanders. In fact, Disney has a lot of competitors in various different places. Like when it comes to animated shorts, Disney is a competitor against Warner Brothers. When it comes to 3D movies, Walt Disney Animation Films and Pixar's are competitors against DreamWorks and Illumination and Blue Sky and Sony Pictures Animation, etc. When it came to Disney Infinity, its main competition is Skylanders. When it comes to today's Disney television animation, its main competitor is Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, and with the Disney Channel. And when it comes to the Disney Plus, its main competitor is Netflix and Amazon Prime, and Paramount Plus and Max, although with Max it may not be much of a competition. Injustice, Gods Among Us. Made by the same people who made Mortal Kombat, and Injustice incorporates what they've learned from Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe, but amped it up to the max by including more DC characters and having them fight in various ways. It's a darker story, and it does the whole Superman is evil type of trope, which has been quite commonplace. I mean, I remember a Superman the Animated Series episode where Lois goes to an alternate reality where she's dead, and Superman joins Lex Luthor in making the police all safe and stuff, Metropolis all safe and stuff. And there was also the Justice League episode just where the Justice League become the Justice Lords and become tyrannical rulers. Sorry about that. And tyrannical rulers. And I'm trying to think. But I think Injustice is a fine way of incorporating. It was what got me more into Solomon Grundy and Black Adam and Ares and other DC characters, which I didn't know about, but I wasn't fully into at the time. I'll talk more about that sequel on a later date. Deadpool, made by the same people who made Transformers: War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. Deadpool is basically a game that takes many pages from the comics and incorporates them into a fun action/adventure game. Of course, many people like Nolan North as Deadpool. For me, I prefer John Kasher, the one with the more rusty type of voice. You ruined my vacation! Instead of the one that has this high-pitched voice or something like that, like, check it out, I'm the ghost of Christmas, kick your ass! Something like that. Of course, I will admit the controls are a bit clunky and the gameplay is a bit random at times. You never know how much time you need to heal. But nevertheless, it does borrow very much. the story is great, and the humor is funny, and it is very true to the comics. They just needed a better gameplay, and it would been an almost completely perfect game. Ratchet Into the Nexus, the final Ratchet and Clank game to be released for the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 3. It was short, but there was a nice way to cap off, and it would be for a while before we get another Ratchet and Clank game. And that's about all my honorable mentions for 2013. So here's a bit of another formula change. Notice that instead of a TV screen, instead of an album, it's a bit of a TV screen. And you're probably wondering, why is it a TV screen? So over here I am with the remotes, and here's Frino from Spot Force, Squishy from Monsters University, and Rick from Rick and Morty. And there's that little device thing. It's based on the Rick and Morty episodes where they have these interdimensional channels where they put on a different TV screen of all these absurd and strange, bizarre ideas. So I turned on, and the letter is from Twinkle Star 2005, and I said to them, "Am I afraid of ghosts?" I said, "Not really, though I do like to imagine some of my relatives are ghosts standing right next to me." And then I changed the channel to. I forgot to change this bit here where the to Twinkle Star 2050's favorite channel, favorite something. Or maybe it just fits the letter anyways. Favorite TV shows are 2011's Yokai Watch and Sanjay and Craig, Gravity Falls, and The Loud House. Mostly for the 2010s, but I only chose Sanjay and Craig because that was the one from 2013. Oh wait, did Yokai Watch come out in 2015? Let's have a look. 2013? I mean, let me check. Yeah, it did come out in 2013. It was Yokai Watch came out in 2013. I said to them, Yokai Watch is kind of like Pokemon but with ghosts or something? And the present channel is to look in front of the TV. And over here is Sanjay from Sanjay and Craig. And he's playing on the Wii, and he's playing a video game. I think it was called one of the Sonic games. Was it Colors or Lost World? I can't remember. And who's that behind? Okay, so for those who don't know, this guy over here is meant to represent a caricature of one of, if not the most controversial animation YouTube reviewers, John Karansky, also known as the Mysterious Mr. Enter. And believe it or not, 2013 is when his channel started. He first reviewed the My Little Pony stuff from seasons 1 to 4, and he would later make his most famous series, Animated Atrocities, where he talks about the problems or why he hates this thing, or here and that, which is a bad SpongeBob episode, which is a bad episode of a good show, which are examples of a bad show which are episodes of a bad show overall, and etc. He's gotten a lot of controversy for either being too angry with his blind rage and his angry reviews with other people and stuff like that. He has been known to get into a bit of fights here or there, and some people say he doesn't do a lot of research on what he's talking about, and he just assumes blind rage. He even got into controversy with quote unquote attacking the writers of one of the writers of SpongeBob SquarePants. In his old videos, he talked about how much he despised Casey Alexander and Zeus Service, two of the post-movie SpongeBob writers. And this caused everybody on Twitter to go to their channels and basically keep bullying him for bringing episodes like One Course Meal, The Splinter, Pet Sitter Pat, A Pal for Gary, etc. At first, I joined in because I thought I like kind of liked listening to his angry rants. I thought maybe it was kind of fun to listen to him being super angry at things. I thought sometimes his anger can be funny. But actually, I actually subscribed to him earlier because he was actually one of the few people on this planet who still seed some value, who at the time still seed some value in the post-movie pre-sequel SpongeBob era, because at the time I felt like I was alone in liking SpongeBob past the movie, because there are some episodes I really do like past from that are after the movie. In fact, season 4 is my most favorite SpongeBob season. It has Mrs. Puff Your Fire, Krusty Towers, Dunces and Dragons, Skill Crane, and Fear of the Krabby Patty, etc. And season 5, while it has its fair share of stinkers like To Love a Patty and Fungus Among Us, it's also got some really good ones too, like the Two Faces of Squidward. That became a meme. And I'm trying to think, what else did I really... Krabs a la mode, which does the thermostat freezing thing. Mermaid Man versus SpongeBob, and so many others. I get that the declining seasons can make people turn off a bit after a while, but I still had some fun memories. I think I kind of watched it religiously until around season 6 or 7, when after watching Back to the Past and the Bad Guy Club for Villains is my last good one. But then there was, I think it was either The Splinter or Choir Boys that kind of made me quit for a bit. But I still found myself liking some of the past episodes. Not just the pre-movie ones, but also some of the post-season ones too. And I first subscribed to him because he had the top 10, 25 post-movie SpongeBob episodes, and he included a lot of examples like Planet of the Jellyfish and Krabs a la mode and the Krusty Sponge, which apparently is a parody of how Nickelodeon treats marketing SpongeBob, and Perfect Chemistry, etc. And I also subscribe to him with his top 20 favorite theme songs. And because, now of course I have heard that he has tried to apologize for his behaviors, like in his 2015 re-review of Pet Sitter Pat. And, but apparently he's gotten himself into new controversies every now and then. Does that in 2020, he had a bit of a Discord. Okay. Before I say something about that, I will say I had been following Mr. Enter for many years, and I was like super addicted to him. I would check out on him almost every week, and I would even be in support of his idea of growing around. I know it's an odd concept of kids ruling the world while the adults have to go back to school and stuff like that. Heck, I sad to say this, but thank you. I even bought this book. It's called Growing Around Party Panic, and looking at the cover, as you can see, it's a bit super blurry. Like, it's not very defined. It's not very fleshed out or something like that. I mean, compare this to something like this book called Voice Lessons by Rob Paulson. As you can see, the image is like super clean, like super crystal clear. You can see Rob Paul. It looks pretty shiny. And also the back cover, you can see how well the back cover is presented with these words. While here, it looks like it's just very dull looking and slapped on. Now, I have heard Mr. Enter doesn't consider this book as canon, and he is trying to redo Growing Around. He has done many rewrites with Growing Around. He hasn't gotten the show off the air yet. He hasn't made a pilot yet, and we are in an era when there's a lot of pilots. Um, I don't. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how well this is gonna go, but I'm not sure if I'm willing to check it out after some of the recent things that have been happening with him. Um, so around 2020, Mr. Enter had been getting a bit more um, has been getting a bit more into controversy. Like at one point in Discord, he was fighting some people in Discord. There was a guy who's like, "Hey, I like your video." Oh, so he said wrong chat/channel, like he was posting it in the. Sorry. Then he pinned him with his name, and he said, I'm sorry about that." And then he replied, "Do not pin me ever." He's like, "I'm sorry." So, and then this is causing a lot of backlash from fans, and people have been screenshotting about his behavior with him and stuff. And not to mention, that same year, he was commenting about how about the 20 about the how do I say this how COVID-19, how we were handling COVID-19, and the the stuff that was happening in COVID. He said that 2020 was a bit of a joke, and we shouldn't be wearing masks in the beginning. And COVID is nothing really to be worried about. When in actuality, he did get a bit sick with it, and his mother, his mother actually had COVID, and he unfortunately his mother died, and not from COVID but from something else. And he's trying to make a reason to why he thinks maybe COVID is just was a bit bonkers. He made a animated atrocities on the wacky world of modern PSAs, like why Arthur had this mask talk. They talk about masks and social distancing and stuff, and he complains about all these things. He has removed them, but he plans to redo them at a later date. But and and I have noticed that maybe there's something a bit wrong with him. Maybe he needs to chill a bit. And then 2022 happened, where he made his Turning Red review, where he said it was a mixed bag, and then he mentions this came out a year after the September 11 terrorist attack, which eradicated the culture at the time. Yes, it takes place in Canada, not in the United States, but all over the Western world. Canada, America, the UK, much of Europe. Everybody was paranoid at the time. And people have been saying, yeah, is that really necessary to bring that up? It even got the news to talk about it. And then he was like, entitled, he was like, people were like, yeah, I think we should, I think he needs help. He needs help. He needs this. And that's when I decided to kind of distance myself from him and unsubscribe to him, because I feel like the more I stick around with him, the more he's just gonna be problematic. Well, I did unsubscribe to him. I do occasionally check up on him every once in a while to see if he was doing a lot better. Now, of course, he still makes his a bit of angry reviews, like with Toy Story 4 and Lightyear. Unfortunately, his more recent review with Camp Lazlo, unfortunately, kind of broke me, apparently, because it was something that he used to like, and it was made by Joe Murray, the guy who made Rocko's Modern Life. It was something he used to like, but then when he looked back at it, he said, it's awful, it's cringe, it's I regretted every positive thing I said about it. That's what he said. I didn't watch the video, but I did read a transcript of it on his wiki. Yes, he has a wiki. And when I read I didn't, because I didn't want to have to listen to it. I was just busy reading what he had to say, and basically he was just only focusing on the negatives. He never focused on any of the positives, which, I'm sorry to say, even if you didn't like Camp Lazlo, I still see there are I still see some positives with it. I can't really see what's super negative about it. It has its dud episodes, sure, like maybe Olympus's Last Stand series finale. The story was quite flimsy, but I don't see why he sees it as so negative. And also, what he said this is like pre-movie SpongeBob, and it looks like it was made in Flash, and that kind of had me triggered. In fact, be right back for a minute. Yeah. Also, I also did remember from his Rocco's Modern Life review of his Nicorama review back in 2019. He said he owned a copy. He owned a book that was by the creator of Camp Lazlo and Rocco. It's the creating animated cartoon with characters. Now, in this book, it did mention that it was made. It was hand painted. The backgrounds were hand painted, but the characters were all made in Adobe Photoshop. They were drawn and colorized, scanned on the computer, and colorized in Photoshop. So calling it Flash animated, it kind of had me triggered a bit. It kind of had me really angry for some reason. I didn't want to. I did type in something that kind of made me express my rage a bit. And then I thought maybe I was over exaggerating a bit. I mean, yes, Joe Murray did use Flash for something like Frog in a Suit, but that's not what Camp Lazlo was made in. And I thought, if he's so, why does he so? Did he not read this book? Maybe he should have read this book before he says a few things about it. But perhaps he'll explain a bit more why he doesn't like it when we come to his CN Real review of Camp Lazlo, which is coming around November or December. And he said that the animated atrocity is a sneak peek at that, but he also said that Camp Lazlo was Cartoon Network's biggest mistake, and that's like, wow, we're just going to ignore Cartoon Network Rio, you know, the one with Do What Will Happen and Destroy, Build, Destroy. Isn't that Cartoon Network's biggest mistake? Or isn't Cartoon Network's biggest mistake neglecting cartoons and trying to focus more on live action? I thought Cartoon Network's or even Warner Brothers' biggest mistake is hiring David Zaslav to be the CEO. I mean, aren't those Warner Brothers' biggest mistake? Why Camp Lazlo? Why is that considered Cartoon Network's biggest mistake? What about Problem Solvers? What about Problem Solvers? What about maybe Teen Titans Go to some extent? Or actually, that's Warner Brothers Animation, but Powerpuff Girls 2016. Isn't that the biggest Cartoon Network's biggest mistake? Why Camp Lazlo? Again, maybe I'm overreacting, and I am trying to be as calm as I can. But I'm sorry to say this, but that I think is what is the straw that broke the camel's back for me, and I decided, you know what, I don't think I want to revisit. I don't want to be too angry, and maybe he'll get better again, like he said many times in the past. But I just want to distance myself from Enter. Maybe I'll make a couple of references to him every now and then, but I just don't want to deal with. Probably just don't want to deal with him anymore. Let's just say I hold on to Camp Lazlo dearly. Camp Lazlo's what brought me back to Cartoon Network. After I was kind of ignoring it for a bit, and it's kind of what got me back into liking cartoons again, and it's what made me want to make cartoon characters. In fact, if it wasn't for Camp Lazlo, I probably wouldn't have been interested in. I probably wouldn't have made Black Rhino Ranger or Cool Croc or any cartoon character back then, because Camp Lazlo was kind of a part of my life. It was kind of part of who I am and one of my inspirations into making cartoons. I had to rewatch somebody else's review of Camp Lazlo, like his review of Where's Lazlo, to bring back my sanity back, to bring back my And I even had to rewatch Camp Lazlo again to bring back my happiness. Is because again, Why would Why would you be this angry over Camp Lazlo? I get that Camp Lazlo may not be everybody's cup of tea, but again, is it really worth getting that angry over a show? Is it really worth being angry towards? I mean, I can understand problem solvers making you angry because of how flashy it is and how it can cause a bit of a sore eye strain or epileptic seizure problems, like with like on a similar level with that Porygon episode of Pokemon. But again, I don't know what else more to say. I'm sorry, Enter, but you kind of crossed the line for me. Is it really? Is it really? Is Camp Raz again? Is Camp Razzle really worth this much rage-inducing hatred? I'm sorry, man. I'm just sorry. I have more of a reason to understand Animat's reason to hate Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs more than your reason to hate Camp Lazlo. I have more of an understanding of why the Nostalgia Critic hated Matilda over this. To be fair, even Nostalgia Critic did warm up, and Animat did apologize for being too harsh towards Sony Pictures Animation, even though he still doesn't like Cloudy. Oh. Then again, I know a lot of people love DC Superhero Girls, but he at one point considered it his number 10 of his most hated cartoons of the 2010s. Although that was kind of moved down a bit thanks to Sanjay and Craig, which he also did an animated atrocity on. Twice on Fart Baby and Arbarfable, but sorry, I'm sorry if I went a bit too heavy and too deep on that part, but after that experience, I just think I need to distance myself from it. So yeah, I don't think you'll be seeing this guy anymore in my animations. Maybe I'll bring back a reference here or there if I make a character based on him, but have him as a villain. But aside from that, I don't think I want to mention him anymore. I know you may not like Animat or the Nostalgia Critic nowadays, but for me, I still see some good in them. I don't think I see much good in Mr. Enter anymore. In times like this, I miss Pie Guy Rules and Gem reviews. So yeah, this was a bit of a long one, and thank you for sticking around if you haven't already. Maybe I'll explain a bit more of why I used to be a Mr. Enter fan, but I no longer value him anymore at a later date. But yeah, so that's my video, and I'll see you on the next one. Hope you've enjoyed this video.